Right, slightly longer one today. I'm going to do an iPhone X from this stage to the stage of it being laminated with new glass. So here I've got an iPhone X with fully working touch. The digitizer still works. Woo! And next to me I have a heat plate that's set at 90 heat. And as you can see, the crack is on there, so it's on the left side as I look at it from the top. There we go. Right. Vacuum on. Screen on. From one I did a minute ago. Right, so as that warms up, the first stage is to remove the frame from the edge. So this frame it's got black sticky adhesive going down the edges there, and then on the other side all the way along that, right? So that's just black adhesive. That's quite easy to get through. I use lighter fluid and it eats right through it. On the edges you've got cold press glue, so it's the same as you'd see on every other iPhone basically. And it glues the actual edge of the glass to the inside edge of the frame. That's the stuff that is tricky to work with. So I use side cutters just to cut there and remove the speaker mesh, because the speaker mesh gets in the way of the wire. And now I'm going to do, at the bottom here you've got this flex has got 3 flexes for the digitizer for the touchscreen that go over the top of the LED flex. They are connected to the inside of that metal frame with cold press glue. So I'm going to put light fluid all the way around so it eats through that black adhesive. Nice and easy. There. And then at the end here, I'm going to come through that in a minute and get rid of that cold press glue. But to start with, I'm going to, at the top here around the notch, and start working a card in to go through that black adhesive and to free up the frame around those edges. So I'm happy with that. And the other side. Happy with that. Very nice. Back to the other side. So it was the left side, it was this side that was badly cracked, not this side. Now this frame I want to sort of pull it away to the sides each way, but I don't want to do that yet. I want to clear that cold press glue from the top. So for this you can use a card. An OCA sheet I like using is slightly thinner. This bit of metal, this is nice and thin. I use this to start a little opening just between 2 of them. And when the opening is started, the OCA sheet can just work along one side, come back, do the middle, keep going. I said, keep going. The OCA sheet is blade. There we go. Just run through. Okay, so now I've gone through, there's 3 separate bits of CPG, cold press glue, gone through all of them. The OCA sheet runs smoothly. That bit's done. Now if this frame now comes up, it's not going to fight with the flex there, which may damage the LED flex. Very easy way to damage the screens. So a bit more lighter fluid down the edges, like so. And I'm going to pull this sort of away to the side, there, away to the side, away to the side. You see there's crack there? Cool. Right, now come to the edge, come to the end where this bit is. I'm going to pull this in a motion which is sort of towards but twisted at the same time. I don't want to just go straight like that, because if there are any stray bits of cold-pressed glue, it's going to damage it. I want to, there. See that? So it was like a movement, so that I'm not angering it. At this stage, this is the easiest stage to remove that black glue I was talking about. It leaves residue. This stage is the easiest stage to remove. Those bits. Like so. Yeah, that's clean enough. So that's the frame off. Now it's wire time. Now I like to get the wire in from this side. You've got the 3 flexes that I talked about earlier. Now I'm going to try and demonstrate this so that you can see it. If I get the wire, so it's on the glass there, okay, as I bring the wire through to start with, I angle this wire down both sides so that it's going into the glass. Now the only time that would change is if it was badly cracked down by these flexes. I may even come in at the other end there, but this is quite straightforward. So I'm going to come on the glass like so. There, I'm coming into the glass. I'm trying to keep the distance between the wire and the OLED screen as much as possible. Okay. Beautiful. Okay, so it's now past the main flexes, and as I go, it's crucial now that the wire, I don't pull it up into the LED screen because you can damage the digitizer like that. It's crucial that it's either level or that it's facing down into the glass. Now as you go past cracked bits of glass, it's going to get trickier. You're going to have to level it up more. This wire is not great. It's greatly suited for X's if I'm honest, but it's what is out. It's a bit too thin. Now some people like to just bring the wire in one direction, which makes sense. You're even less likely to do any damage to the digitizer by doing that. But I find I get on just fine by doing it this way. So. Right, there we go. And if I look at that, the edges of the digitizer, they look okay. There's no sort of chips or marks, which would be something to worry about. I'm just going to pop that to the side for a moment. Okay, so the next stage is to clean this glue off, and it is very, very, very important when cleaning this glue off to try not to touch the actual LED screen itself. That's the digitizer, that top layer. Let's get this back on. That top layer is the digitizer. Now the digitizer, to keep it working in the way that it should do originally, is really, really hard. Apple have a recall on the screens as it is because I mean they're just not. It's not a great design. They're not great quality. If you get off at this stage and there's no chips or marks or anything on the edge of the digitizer, then I'd say clean it up in the way that I'm showing you here, or use G remover from Mirko in Germany. That's supposed to be very good. This liquid I'm using is D-limonene. which is, it's a citrus-based product. It's based off of, well, I mean, most of it is organic as far as I'm aware. And this is really good at eating up glue. People use it for other parts of refurbishing as well. Some people use it on iPhone LCDs, but I love using it on the iPhone X glue removing. On both this layer and under the digitizer, it's great for there as well. So it's 90 heat on the heat plate, which I think I said earlier. The reason for that is any higher than 90, and on the XS and XS Max, more than the X, you can get burn on the polarizer, on the edge of the polarizer. The burn on the polarizer looks like sort of yellow. It looks like the side of it's just been dunked in wee or something. It's yeah, it's not great, and to replace the polarizer is a bit of a pig job compared to the digitizer or the glass. So it's best to try not to do that. This X I'm running at 90 because I run all of the X, XS and XS Max at 90 now for the polarizer burning reason. So this delaminating, I'm wiping this on just with a paintbrush, it's nice and soft. This doesn't damage the flex from my experience. It doesn't damage the touchscreen from my experience. I wipe it down with acetone afterwards, I have no problems whatsoever. By wiping this on consistently, because this is hot, it's drying, and as it's drying into the glue. I want it just to do its job in the glue. I want the glue to soften up and come off in as big a chunks as possible. Right. Let's try giving that a little pull. So I'm going to come from the edge of an open bit where the OCA has come with the glass, and I'm going to try not to touch the digitizer itself. I'm just going to roll the glue into itself because that's quite wet. That's not moving very much. When this starts to dry, I should imagine it'll work a bit better. You should see it any minute now, just sort of roll on itself. Still quite wet, it's just drying. Come on, screen. Here it comes. You see that? Starting to come. So I'm rolling it into itself. I'm not rolling it and trying to touch the digitizer. I'm doing everything I can not to touch the actual digitizer. I'm only touching the OCA. Now when you start to get it, you peel it into itself like this, at sort of a 45-degree angle. So it's started to come there. If I can now work my way to the left, that would be great. No, I want to go all the way up. I'm picking the glue that's on the edge, and trying my very hardest at every point not to touch the digitizer, which is what looks like the OLED. I do not want to leave a mark on that digitizer. It's very soft, it's very easy to mark, and any marks you get on it are visible after laminating the glass, and we don't want that. We want grade A screens. Lovely. Yeah. Okay, I can see at the bottom here where the wire took the OCA off, there's sort of some residue, and there's some residue at the top there as well. It does get fine or wiped down by acetone. Just going to take the last bits of glue off the digitizer flex. Those 3 little bits there, they're the digitizer flex. Now it's very important to, I mean, touching it isn't great like I'm doing here, but I know how soft I'm doing. I'm doing it with the tip of the glove, not my finger. If there's any glue left there when you laminate the glass, it causes the glass to have a bubble just in that spot, which isn't ideal. Alright, so there's a screen with no glass on it. Right, let's go over to laminate. Right. Piece of glass. Okay. So this white rubber, this comes from the same king mould. I'm just going to use it to support while I final wipe with acetone. Now while I'm wiping with this, it's key to be ever so light. Don't press too hard. Change the cloth regularly. You do not want to mark this digitizer at all. Less is more with the X digitizer. Now I'm sorry if you can't see the small marks that I'm cleaning in the video. I'll do a close-up in a minute once I've got it a bit cleaner. It needs to be immaculate because any small marks are visible on the glass afterwards. I'm trying to clean from the outside in. By going from the outside in, no sorry, from the inside out. If I'm going from the inside out, then I've got a sort of starting place to call home to go from. Glue left around the edge there, I don't want that to creep in when it's laminated. Top half is near enough done. I can see in the top right hand corner, I'll try and get it on video afterwards. In the top right hand corner there's a small tiny scratch there, but I don't think it's big enough to warrant putting local on. It's got a bit of a mess that bit. Around the edge of the LED screen, or the edge of the digitizer, there is sort of a thin black band. That actually rubs off, so if you put too much isopropyl or acetone in there, that rubs off and it reveals a copper layer, which is the edge of the digitizer. That copper layer with the normal glass, that's visible, so it leaves a copper layer around the outside of the glass. You can get some small window glass, which has a bigger painted black bit around the edges, that hides that bit, or you can use a plastic sort of screen protector to cover the inside of the OLED, and you can sharpie it, that works as well. I haven't got any of the small window glass, so any that I have had, I've been doing that with. Right, that is pretty neat. Yeah, right, so if I just check it out, right, if you look at that now under the light, I don't know how well you're going to be able to see that, but that is pretty immaculate other than a small scratch. It's only a small scratch just up there, but I don't even think that's going to be visible afterwards. So, just going to check the edges for that leftover cold press glue. Happy with that. There's a little bit more. Okay. Fine, I'll wipe this down. spending a bit of extra time at this stage because however clean and pretty it is at this stage, it's how the screen's going to look when your customer fits it or has it fitted. Quite happy with that. Other than that small scratch that I talked about before, that's pretty mint. So, glass will wipe down around the edges. Give it a little blow off camera, facing the other way. Double check the screen for dust. Tiny little bit down there. Happy with that. Okay, now the settings in the laminator are 30 heat, 30 smoke time, which is vacuum time, 10 hold time, and the pressure is 0.05, so it's very light pressure. Don't need to press it too hard. Now it's going to come out with some small bubbles. Just turn that one off. It's going to come out with some small bubbles, which will disappear in the autoclave. I'm certain of, but I won't keep the camera rolling for another 5-10 minutes just to prove that. I don't like editing my videos, so piece it together. Now I've used the same mould for this. Normally I'd use the YMJ. The same king is for new digitizers mainly, and it works really well, it's really nice. But the YMJ is just as good. Okay, there we go. Got ourselves some bubbles, as you can see. Nothing huge or major. Ta-da! Turn the light off. Just check the touch, make sure that digitizer's okay. It's always worth laminating the glass to test the digitizer, as they never act properly when the glass is removed. They always seem erratic or have dead patches. Notch is okay. All good. Good screen. There you go.